So we're back. What's wrong? Oh, you got lots of time. We're in a little bit of a lineup. It's the only, if we're going to be in a lineup for the border, the OCD in me takes control. Ollie, can you turn that down, honey? Takes control and makes me do other things. Okay. Makes me do other things. I have something to do. I got a video for you to do. So we're going to run through Harry Poulton's barn. Harry Poulton's quietly been on fire. He won with Linnea the other day. She actually switched barns. To Ricky's barn. Ricky been taking care of her and going with her all winter. And Harry was down as trainer on her and had her for a week. But Harry's got a lot of horses here to take care of. I don't want to say we gave Harry most of the good horses, but I love the way Harry operates. He's very simplistic, very low stress, easy to get along with. We talk all the time. He does a great job. But first and foremost, and most importantly, he's been there. He's been places I've never been. On the road again, Matt Scooter. The list can go on and on and on and on and on. I grew up watching Harry Poulton win the Gold Cup in Saucer himself as a driver. How good was that horse? But I had I had the opportunity, you know, I was a kid cheering for Harry Poulton, the island boy, when I was a kid, and Harry Poulton's just not only a tremendous gentleman, but a tremendous horseman. So a lot of our horses that I want to keep an eye on real close, Harry has them. So Linnea's pretty push button, and it wasn't fair to have Ricky with like a B cast, so to speak, like our grassroots horses and stuff. So we moved, although Linnea's in the grassroots this week, we hope to use that as a springboard into the gold. We're just trying to gauge the competition, and I left that up to Sylvain. I asked Sylvain after her first race, gold or grassroots. He said she's a nice filly, but I'd start grassroots. So that's where she is this week. So on to Harry's barn. First and foremost, Captain Miraculous. Got a lot of our clients asking. Charging stopped. Oh, temperature's too high. I'm gonna have to be back in a minute. My phone's trying to have a nuclear meltdown. We'll get back into the list in just a second. So my phone overheated. It was trying to commit phone aside. Apparently, it gets, the camera heats it up, I guess. And anyway, let's put it on the air conditioner. So Captain Miraculous schooled in 2 minutes, come 27 in a piece the other day. They said he was scrubbing on his knee a little bit. So by scrubbing, I mean just brushing his knee. We have knee boots on him. It would be nice to get him out of that. Obviously, you can only imagine horses will pace faster if they're not hitting their knees. So we're going to tinker with the shoes. You can't tinker too much, though, because this guy's got some sore feet. So the shoes we have on him are the shoes we have on him. We'll see what we're going to do this week. I'll make a decision. I'll take him over and school him again on Tuesday and see how he feels. I'll go with him and get a feel for the big guy. But by all accounts, the speed was there. Very happy to hear that. James was happy with him, so I'll get a good look at him on Tuesday. But Captain Miraculous looks great so far. Obviously a few weeks behind some of these faster colts, maybe even a month. But we'll get him there. When he's good enough, hopefully head to Pennsylvania. If he's not, then we're going to bounce around here with him and turn him out. Let him mature as a 3-year-old. So that's what a lot of these horses are going to do, and I don't want anybody to be discouraged. You know, we're going to talk about a couple of horses later on that are going to be turned out. But you know, a horse like Dancing on My Own, she's just too big, too frail, too lanky. You know, you look down in Pennsylvania, you look in the Meadowlands, you look here, and there's some beach somewhere it's horses qualifying 53, 54. If she's not comfortable doing her work, why push her? She's going to get there. She'll mature. She'll go out and fill out and come back and hopefully be a great filly. But if the horses aren't mentally or physically ready to rock right now, why push? It just makes no sense. I know as an owner, I've been there, and as a trainer, you think that there's something you can do to get them there, to help out, to help them along. But they're just not physically able and mature enough right now. You really have to just look at the big picture and say, is this a horse that is going to be a better horse next year? What's your best guess on that? Which is a tough thing to do. It's tough to extrapolate raw data from a horse that's not mature and look at and say, what's this horse going to look like when they are mature? Very, very tough thing to do. So for me, unless we have a reason not to believe these horses are going to be good enough, unless I just don't think, listen, we sold Rock on the Roll last week, the hog. Didn't want to do his work, and his attitude was terrible. I have no reason to believe that horse will be a good 3-year-old. I look at other horses like Dancing on My Own, I have every reason to believe she will. So That's what we base our decision on. It's not perfect. It's not a science. It's best guess and gut feeling most of the time, but I do the best I can, and I think we all do. And, you know, if I had a reason to give up on the horses, for any reason at all, you'd be the first people that know. So, for me, if we turn them out to let them mature, not necessarily a bad thing. So, that's Captain. And not to say that we are turning Captain out either. I don't want anybody, you know, dropping the lifeboats off the boat just yet. You know, I want to get a good look at him on Tuesday. By all reports, he looked great last week. 2 minutes, 27 and a piece on the end of it. Exactly what I want to see. Like to go a mile and 57 with him on Tuesday. If we do that, qualify and hopefully head to Pennsylvania. So that's Captain Miraculous. Number 2, Dance Hall Babe. Wowzers. It killed me not to put her on the top 10 list. Actually, Amy talked me out of it because she hasn't raced yet. So I couldn't put her on the top 10 list. If this filly doesn't turn out to be a good filly, it'll break my heart. Because I think this filly has all the tools. She's got a great work ethic. She's got a huge engine. She's smart. Just a nice horse. Just sheer ability. You know, she's been in 2 minutes. I think she's going to progress even faster and faster. I don't see any hurdles in front of her. So for me, Dance Hall Babe. Didn't get in on Sunday, so we're going to school her also. I'd like to go a mile in 2 minutes, 2-1 on Tuesday, and then she will be racing in Georgian in the Gold next Sunday. Final Answer. Looked incredible. I don't know what happened. He must have been really hot the other night for James to actually leave with him, his first lifetime start. It's a big joke, but, you know, for the people that watch the races or the people that know James, he's a really conservative driver. Drives for a lot of conservative trainers. Me, not so conservative. I was happy to see him go out of there with him. Thank you, Ollie. I was happy to see him go out of there. And he didn't really give me an explanation why he did, and I didn't ask. So he went out of there with Final Answer, got pinned in around the last turn, had enough trot to go by a horse, finished third, closing on the end of the mile. Hey, his first lifetime start. So Final Answer, top marks, really like this colt. He's heading to the Pennsylvania Sires. I believe this is a good horse. I have every reason to believe he'll trot in 57, 56 if he has to. And I'm going to place some trust in him. So Final Answer heading to Pennsylvania this week. Linnea, she's not on Harry's list anymore. She's over on Ricky's. She can't be in both of them.
She raced last week.
Oh, she raced last week for Harry. Ricky made a trade for her. Made a multi-horse trade for her. So Linnea moved over to Ricky's barn. This week coming up in the grassroots on Tuesday, Ricky will be training her. Keep in mind, Ricky, Harry, Danny, all these guys work for us, work under the umbrella. They know how things operate. They know what we want to see. We want to see the horses sharp, on their toes, working hard, healthy, sound, and experienced horsemen. So for me, not to say 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but Ricky and Harry both understand how these horses got here. That's exactly how we're going to keep them there. So for me, Harry's done a great job. Ricky's done a good job. I don't need phone calls and constant updates from them. They're doing great. Doing a great job, and I expect Linnea to continue doing a great job under the Ricky McPhee banner. Last week she raced under Harry, and she was a winner. It was a tough thing to do to move over, and it was really a decision from Harry and Ricky. I didn't weigh in. I didn't want to. They worked it out, and it was a two-sided trade, if you will. So they're both very, very happy, and I think Linnea will be very happy also. She's in the grassroots now. Sylvain's not driving her. I am, so maybe she won't be happy. I don't know, but drew 11 on Tuesday. Is it Tuesday or Monday? Tuesday. No, it was Tuesday. So Tuesday she's racing out of the 11 hole, which is trailing position. An odd place to be on Mohawk, but yeah, I don't care. I'd rather an 11 than 10, so I'm happy either way. Harry's maintenance man, we had to scratch him the other day. His white count come back 12. Good job by the groom, Johnny McKinnon. He caught that the horse was coughing a little bit, left a little bit of his breakfast. We drew his blood. Sure enough, his white count was high. That's been a problem the last month. A couple of horses raced a little poor. We're going to talk about a horse, Mo Better, in a little while that was sick. And there's nothing worse than racing a sick horse. It can lead to real problems. Hopefully, a lot of the times it doesn't. Sometimes it does. So we got to keep an eye on that. Nobody could have seen Mo Better coming. He seemed good, ate good. That's the biggest problem. When they're eating good and they're acting fine, but they still have that mucus up in their upper airway, it really it wreaks havoc on them in the race and can really throw the trainers for a loop because it's hard to detect. We can't possibly, it's not feasible for us to draw blood on every horse and scope every horse before they race. That would be lunacy. We do the best we can, and thankfully, Johnny Cop, maintenance man, wasn't 100%, drew his blood. His white count was high. We've been treating him. He'll be fine. Screaming Hawk raced tremendous. Finished second in 59, I think. Amy was surprised when I said we're going to race him in the gold. Why not? He's handy, he's smart, he's quick, he's improving. Why wouldn't we? I had no problem racing Screaming Hawk in the gold. I'm not going to be here for the gold. I have to be in Pennsylvania. James gets along great with him. I can't imagine there'll be any issue putting James on Screaming Hawk. We will have to put Mike Saftik on Time Houdini, who we're going to talk about in a few minutes over on Ricky's side. James opted in the qualifier, and James in a tough spot. When you're going to be a professional driver, sometimes you have to make allegiances. And Mark Stacey lists James on everything. Everything. And I can't blame James as a driver. He does a fantastic job. I'm biased. He's my brother. But he chose Mark Stacey's horse in the qualifier over Screaming Hawk. I asked Mike Saftik to go with him. Or Houdini, I'm sorry. Not Screaming Hawk. Houdini. I asked Mike Saftik to go with him. He qualified him. He's going to be driving him next week. So, qualified well, went a mile and 2.2. There was a little bit of a difficulty there. We couldn't get him into race. Then I was a little torn with... Anyway, we'll talk about him in a minute. So, Screaming Hawk is going to the gold. Next Saturday, I don't know. Next week, he's going to the gold. Stonebridge Loyal finished second. Raced tremendous. Got away 7th on a half-mile track. She was out 3 turns, 3 wide in the last turn, closing. Finished second to a 3-year-old. These weren't 2-year-olds. 3-year-old. Finished closing second and raced great. So Stonebridge Loyal showing some real grit and determination, that filly. I don't know if she's quite there yet to send to Indiana. You know, so the way Indiana's structured is they have the stake. If you don't make the final, you race in the consolation, but you got to race in the stake. Well, they had 3 divisions the other day. They went 52, 53, and 54. I don't think Stonebridge Loyal's ready to go there yet. So, you don't know? No? So, we're just going to take our time with this filly. There's some racing here for her. There's no rush here yet. Oh, yeah, I jumped over the C's. Amy had made some adjustments. Screws it up a little bit. Ah, well. Casanova's Jewel, making his first start tomorrow. Had him to the vet the other day. Found some issues with him. Hopefully this goes a long way for this colt's confidence. Listen, if this colt trots, he's legit. Strong colt. He's got no confidence. 0 confidence. There's nothing slight on him. That comes with racing experience and just doing well. And he hasn't had a chance yet. So, Casanova's Jewel is going to be getting at it on Sunday. 8-5 morning line in Georgia, and if he trots, I think he probably beats him or gives them all they want. Cruising with Angus is in there, a little more experienced and a little clever, that colt. That's right, that was a train. And he understands what he's there to do. So for me, that'll be a good tilt on Sunday night. But Casanova's Jewel, I want to see him do good because I'd like to see him wind up in Pennsylvania. He's got loads of ability, this colt. Overpowered the qualifier. Just on sheer talent. 2 minutes, won by 11 lengths. Looked great. He's in to go Sunday. Cruising Angus, talked about him. He's also in to go Sunday. Little more sure-footed, obviously. Oh, thank you, honey. Little more sure-footed than Casanova's Jewel. Tough, strong colt. Had to scratch him because he was colicking a little bit last week, but we did school him back on Tuesday. So he should be relatively tight for Sunday. We'll see how he works out on Sunday. What else do we got? Oh, we got to jump back up into Stonebridge Simba. Stonebridge Simba made a very uncharacteristic break the other night. From my point of view in Pennsylvania, I wish Brett had went to the phone and got an IX. That coach should have got an IX. 2 horses run in front of him, his first lifetime start. To not give a 2-year-old trotting colt an interference break in that situation, I think was a travesty. But nevertheless, he doesn't have to qualify to race in Pennsylvania. So we're going to school him. I'd like to school him in a mile, but 58, 59 on Tuesday. Really tighten his bolts up. He's got to go down to Andrew, where he's going to have to do some major work in a week. So Stonebridge Simba is going to be schooling on Tuesday. Springbridge Proud, Indigo Sunday. I was a little torn whether I was going to put this guy in or not. I didn't want to race him back and a half. He's still got that foot that was hurting him. Now they said it's not bleeding. It's good. And I know how tough he is. So we opted into racing him on Sunday. Trained him yesterday. He said he trained good. He felt comfortable. He was sound. So I'm optimistic. He's not as tight as he could be. Obviously not 110% sound, but good. So the more I talk about it, the more it bothers me. Anyway, he's racing on Sunday. We'll see how he gets along. This is a nice colt. Really just has to, all these moving parts, they just have to click at the right time, and his parts aren't aligned just yet. And mentally he is. It's a tough colt, but physically the feet, just little things that are eating away at him and that he's going to overcome, but he's going to have to push through and work through them, and he is so far. Sunshine's finest. What a colt. How many 2-year-old colts have you ever seen come 25-4 on the end of a mile? Second lifetime start, half in 53 and a bit. This is a creature. A creature. He's going to be in a gold in 10 days. We took him to the vet. He's got about 3 or 4 little issues, and we're working with them. First thing to do is isolate them, understand what is bothering them. And we knew it was more than one thing. It wasn't just one thing, it's a number of things. Isolate the issues, work on the symptoms, correct the issues, get them to 100%, and keep them there. And that is the goal for these babies. It's tough. You're going to race them at 110%. Horse like him that tries as hard as he does, very hard to keep them sound. You need a smart driver to manage them, smart trainer to stay on top of it. We have both. James is driving this colt. He's going to stick with him, he says. Harry's training him. Obviously, Harry's been there and done that in regards to speed and 2-year-olds. So they're both. He's in the best hands he could be in right now, and very happy with what I've seen. It's a freak. So Sunshine's finest, excited to see what he's going to do next week in the gold. War We Ultra, as excited as I was to see Sunshine's finest race, very disappointed with her race. This is a very particular, very finicky filly. James did not get along well with her. It looked really bad. Now she has to qualify, which is really upsetting also. Very disappointed all around. I'll be driving her on Tuesday, and I'll be back to drive her next Sunday. So War We Ultra is a filly that we all know has an exceedingly high amount of talent. Very talented filly. I schooled her in 59 last Tuesday when I was home. Very disappointed when I saw the other night. So I'll be there to go with her this week. It's not like I'm coming back to save the day, but I do get along with this filly. I do know her quirks. I do know her finer points, and I do believe her and I will get along just fine all summer. I'm really going to try and make her races. Good thing for her is Dance Hall Babe is a filly I own a third of. I own none of War We Ultra, but I own a third of Dance Hall Babe, which she's another finicky, quirky filly that I'm really going to try my hardest to. It's going to take a lot to take me away from those two. So I'll be back for War We Ultra this week. And last, certainly not in any way, shape, or form least, is the big White Tiger. The big Tiger. White Tiger jogged the other day, and I'd said to Amy on the down low coming out of the winner's circle, this colt's not 100% tonight. I didn't think it was lameness. We had him to the vet. Sure enough, he vetted out perfectly. Stop, guys. We did a few little things on him, but nothing serious. He's blood, though. His liver count was really high, and I don't know why. But usually when their liver count gets up that high, they're no good. And what I felt was a weaker version of White Tiger when I warmed him up. And that's how he raced. I didn't feel that real grit on the end of it. Now, he come a quarter, half in 56-4, so it sounds stupid saying that out loud. But that extra gear that he always had, and when I called on him coming out of the turn, he just drove away, but he didn't sprint away. Now, maybe he couldn't go. Easily, the easy answer to that is, geez, you can't ask him to do much more. But when I saw that liver count the next day, it all added up. So for me, we've been working on that liver count, get it down, obviously watch his diet, and ship him off to Pennsylvania. But he's got the rail, picked a win on Monday. The rail, again, place I don't really want to leave with White Tiger, but
I'll vote for White Tiger.
Ava. But nevertheless, we'll endure with the Tiger, get him around, and get him to Pennsylvania next week. So that's Harry's barn. Jason had a big week last week. Harry's looking to have a huge summer by the looks of this bunch. Next up, we'll talk about Ricky's barn, and we'll save Kevin's to the end because Kevin's got a lot of aged horses and he's got a lot of horses. So Ricky McPhee will be up in a minute. I'll give you a rundown on his barn. Harry had a great week. Jason has a great week. We're going to keep it going next week at TheStable.ca. So we stopped for something to eat. And I convinced my wife to do a little driving. I usually do the driving, but on the video. I'd rather focus on the video. We're now back in Canada. Drove through Windsor. I don't know where the hell we're at now. But we will be back home in about 2 hours, I'd say. Two and a bit, I'd say. No, you don't know. So we went through starting, how the week went, how things went all week. Then we talked about Jason's barn on fire. Harry's barn's doing good. Before we get to Kevin's, we're going to talk about Ricky McPhee and his barn. Now, Ricky McPhee, another island guy, if you will. I grew up watching Alex McPhee, Ricky's father, race horses. Brian McPhee and Ricky, both Alex's sons, race horses. Brian McPhee, Ricky's brother, is a very experienced blacksmith. Good horseman also, and Ricky is also. So we were lucky enough to have Ricky join our staff this fall. I think he had left Jack Darling's barn. Jack had got down on horses, I believe, and Ricky was looking for a job, so we hired him. And obviously we have something a little more unique than other trainers do in the area. We have an opportunity for you to get back in the game in a real way. So Ricky and I talked about it this winter, about him taking some horses on, and you know, it's a little bit of a jump. Sure, it's more money, I would suppose, but it's more responsibility, and you really have to understand the undertaking here, how important it is not to do well. You know, it's not, we're not putting incredible. Obviously, we want to do well, and I think we have the right horses to do well. But understanding that you're opening your entire barn up to hundreds of clients, and you are expected to talk to them. You know, converse with them, make sure they're updated. And I update you, and I stay in touch with all of our clients. Make sure you all understand how things are going. If you have any questions about your horses and you don't feel like you don't know Ricky well enough to talk to him, maybe you're always welcome to talk to me. But it's all about getting these very good horsemen that don't have clients and horses anymore to open them up. Let them understand that there is a way forward. There's a good way forward, but it's a different way forward. It takes a lot of work, a lot of different work, a lot of things they're not used to doing. Excuse me? Oh, you do remember I'm here. Okay, good. It takes a lot of work in a lot of different ways. So it's a lot more than just cleaning stalls and brushing horses and jogging and training them. Now you are trying to better yourself through marketing yourself, advertising yourself, and really communicating and conversing with hundreds of people. So for Ricky, Ricky will do well. He's a great guy. He's easy to talk with, like everybody else. Got a good demeanor, nice, honest horseman that works really hard. I don't think there's any shock that a lot of these guys are from PEI. Harry Bolton, Ricky McPhee, Jason McGinnis is a Maritimer. I don't know if he was born up here. I think he was probably born in the Maritimer. No, for sure, he was born in the Maritimers. Another Maritimer, Kevin McMaster, Kate Brett. These are all Maritimers. I didn't plan it, just the way it is. So, so anyway, Ricky joined our troop, if you will, and he's going to be in charge of some horses moving forward. First horse Ricky's getting in the draft. It's like a what was the NHL draft last year? What do they call it? Somebody's going to give me the answer. The expansion draft. The expansion draft. Ricky got some horses in the expansion draft. The Las Vegas Golden Knights. Yeah. So anyway, Ricky ended up with 10 or 12 horses in the expansion draft. So the first horse on the list is American League. American League moving from Jason into Ricky's barn. This is a colt that's really got to start pulling his pants up, or somebody else is going to be ironing for him. He did well at the start of the year. Probably an okay non-winners of a 2-horse. Pretty decent condition claimer non-winners of 2-horse. So he's in against one of our other horses tomorrow in Hoosier Muscle. Squirrely, crazy filly. She can really dance, but she is crazy. Hey, she is crazy. So American League is gonna butt heads, and American League and Hoosier Happy Holidays, or Hoosier Muscle, are both trained by Ricky. So Ricky's gonna have 2 in together tomorrow. I'm driving Hoosier Muscle just because I don't trust her, and I think that you caught her on a bad day. I think she gets somebody hurt. She's a fast filly, but and she qualified really well, but I don't trust her, not as far as I can throw her, and I'm going to keep a close eye on her tomorrow night. I think she's probably good enough to win if she's in check, and she's been good, so we'll give her the benefit of the doubt. So American League is Ricky's first one in this alphabetical order, obviously. And American League will be racing tomorrow night under the Ricky McPhee banner in Georgian Downs. Arvika just come back to the field. Ricky trained Arvika a number of times this winter when I couldn't go with her. Nice filly, smart filly. So Ricky's going to end up with her also. She's got about 3 weeks of training, then she's going to qualify, and then hopefully Ricky will probably race with the Pure Ivory, I would imagine, and then down to Kentucky, I would hope, would be the trajectory of this filly, but that will be completely up to her. Autumn Wings, another filly. Ricky gone with her a couple of times. I went with her most of the time, all winter. We turned her out for 3.5 weeks. 3.5 weeks. I wanted to let her mature a little bit and grow up. You'd be surprised, you say, what's 3.5 weeks going to do? 3.5 weeks on fresh green grass will do a lot for a horse. And it didn't need to do a whole lot for this filly anyway. She had trained in 59 before we turned her out, so there's no issues with Autumn Wings in that regard. Boston Glide, another horse moving over from Jason McGinnis's barn. Boston Glide, this colt's got some serious talent. In a little tough Monday night, off a week, might be a little bit short, but this colt's got some serious talent, and I'd love to see him do good for Ricky. Almost, he's on the cusp of maybe heading to Pennsylvania, but there's lots of money to be... You already talked about him. There's lots of money to be made right here in Ontario, so he's on the cusp, though. He's close. So we'll see what is going to take place with Boston Glide after tomorrow night. I'd like to see him get some money, but it is a very, very tough class, and he is missing a week up a class. So a lot of, I wouldn't say a tall order. I think this colt's very fast, but it's enough of an order for him tomorrow for sure. Buckeye Babe, another horse in the same boat as American League. Buckeye Babe is a filly that has really let everybody down this year. Made some breaks, interfering, not finishing upper miles. Didn't advance as far as speed is concerned from last year. Just what I would call an unfortunate situation, but we're going to try and get her back on the right track. She's on an extremely short leash, her and American League. So hopefully we can get her pants pulled up for her in the near future, because she's got some work to do this fall or this summer if she wants to stick around the stable. So Buckeye Babe, Bubble Babe, she's on the bubble for sure. Kevin is racing Happy Holidays tonight. She may make her way over to Ricky's barn also after tonight. We'll see. No particular reason, just we're trying to move some horses around and situate the best horses in the best place for both Ricky and Harry and Jason and Kevin. So when it comes to Happy Holidays, she may or may not make the move. Obviously, as of tonight, she's racing under Kevin's banner. If we change, then we change. If we don't, no big deal. But Happy Holidays, a little bit of a question mark beside her after tonight. Who's Your Muscle? I talked about her. She's a little bit of a, not a little bit, she's more than a little bit of a bulldog. She is bad sometimes, but she's fast, so I'll forgive it a little bit. I don't think they can really beat this filly in these classes if she has her manners. She was very good qualifying, so if she has her wits about her, even mildly, I think she'll give them all they want tonight, even after missing a week. I think she'll give them all they want here in Georgia. Tomorrow night, which would be yesterday for you. Christine K. Ricky always went with this filly. This is a nice filly. She's only going to be here for one start, and then she's heading down to New York. But this filly qualified very, very good. She's 8-5 morning line tomorrow. Given her qualifier, I think that's granted. It's only fair. I mean, she qualified 57. The rest of the horses don't show it. Now, it's impossible to gauge 2-year-olds off a qualifier into the first lifetime start. Might be some Bearcats there, but on paper tomorrow, she's deservedly 8-5. Nice filly, and expecting good things from her also. Linnea moves from the Harry Polton barn over to Ricky's barn. A multiplayer trade, if you will. Ricky and Harry did some business together and traded some horses back and forth, just trying to get everybody situated where they're comfortable and happy. So Ricky really wanted Linnea. He went with her quite a bit in the wintertime and wanted her. And Harry's got a lot to focus on. when I look over at Harry's list, he's got a lot to do there. So not a real big deal for Linnea to move over to Ricky's barn, I can't imagine. And keep in mind, these horses are all under the stable banner. So Ricky's going to talk to Harry once in a while. Harry and Ricky are both going to talk to Anthony, who's going to talk to Kevin. Everybody, it's one big happy family, so to speak. So although I oversee everything, I talk to you most of the time, I do the videos, I talk to our clients, I send out the emails and whatnot. Obviously, I can't be everywhere, and this is why we have experienced, hard-working trainers. I mean, you're only as good as you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with, and we've got some really hard-working, experienced horsemen and trainers here. That's why we split them up into stables all summer, is because I'm in Ohio for 6 days with Amy, and then we're back, then we're in Pennsylvania, then we're here, then we're there, and we really need people to keep a close eye on these stables, and that's why Ricky, Jason, Harry, and Kevin were hired to begin with. You know, I think it's smart as we bring horses on and build up higher and hit bigger numbers, both in clients and horses. It's important to be able to have the employees, the clientele, to move those numbers sideways. I prefer to stay engaged with the babies and move some of the older horses 3 and up down the line, whether it be to Kevin or any of the other trainers. So that's how it's going to work as we build it up vertically. We're also building it horizontally, and I think it's a smart business plan. I think it's the best way to go, and I think it's something this industry desperately needs. So that is why we have gone about done it like that. Next is Sunshine Inn, another horse moving from the Harry Polton barn to the Ricky McPhee barn, another filly that Ricky went with all winter. There was a bit of a delay getting Ricky going. It was a little embarrassing at the start, but Ricky had worked as a second trainer for Jack Darling and Carl Jameson over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Didn't bother getting his trainer's license renewed. So he went to get his trainer's license renewed, and they said, "You, sir, you're going to have to write a test." Which was a bit embarrassing because Ricky McPhee's been training horses since before I was born. But nevertheless, the AGCO being the AGCO, they made him write a test. So Ricky was supposed to get Linnea and Sunshine Inn all along, but didn't have his trainer's license in time. No fault of his own, little embarrassing situation. I think for the industry as much as anything, when you have to tell a guy like Ricky McPhee he has to get re-licensed, has to write a driver's test. I understand. I guess there's multiple times that same situation would fit in other places in life. So it's not the end of the world. He passed the test, he got his license, and now he has the horses. So Sunshine Inn is in Ricky's care also. She will be racing in the grassroots with Linnea on Tuesday. Not against Linnea, but the same race card. Also, Timo Houdini. Timo Houdini will be racing in the gold. A little underperformed in his qualifier, but as Mike Saftik said, he went to the front and kind of went to sleep. The great thing about this colt is he's dopey. You know, he won't drive away. You know, he waits and just being green and a bit stupid, big and dumb, and he, just becoming a racehorse, but the right kind of racehorse. He's not hot, not crazy. He's aggressive when you fire him up, but he sleeps when you don't. And that's important, and that's a good thing for horses, and it's a great thing for a 2-year-old trotter. So, Timo Houdini making his first start in the Golds next week in, I believe, Georgian Downs. And last and not least, almost least, the way he's racing right now is Zeppelin B. We had some chiropractic work done on Zeppelin this week. He'll be going back down to Jason within the next 10 days, I'd say. Hopefully the work we had done to him helps. There was some real issues with him over his spine, which really isn't that shocking. His colt's always been really tight over his back. The chiropractor that came down to look at him had come back a second time to do more work on him. So hopefully we're making some headway with Zeppelin B, because here's a colt that, I know he's a nice horse. We're just trying to get him proper. So hopefully we can get him that way and get him going. So that's the Ricky McPhee stable. They're going to be heading out under orders on Sunday. First one to race on Sunday, I don't know. American League in maybe Christine K. Ricky might have a win in his first start back. So that's Ricky's barn. We'll give you a short break. Then we're coming back with Kevin's barn, a little more extensive now. Kevin's up around 20-25 horses. So a lot of moving going on in the stable right now as horses settle in. guy like Kevin's got more horses and a lot more responsibility. So we'll be back in a minute with Kevin's much larger barn. Just a minute. So we got 4 other stables that we farmed our horses out to. Obviously, Jamie and Ricky McCumber, the leading duo. I would think one of the leading duos, if not the leading duo, of trainer and driver, husband and wife in Indiana. Have Bay Jewel. Bay Jewel raced well last week. She finished 5th. I didn't see the race myself, but I know she tried the last quarter in 28 and a piece mile in 2 minutes. It's a good first start for her. I expect some progression out of her over the coming weeks, as I'm sure she will. Paul Kelly, as the Butler did it. We sent the Butler to Paul after his Buffalo excursion. Paul Kelly has a sister to the Butler did it, so it was a great mix altogether. 1, he is another member of that family. 2, he's a fantastic trainer, and 3, he races a lot in the New York Sire Stakes circuit. So a great move for us, I think, sending this horse to Paul Kelly in the Butler did it. Andrew Harris, his Lawmaker, Cruising in Style. Don't have to spend much time talking about these guys. A couple of staples in our barn. Cruising in Style obliterated them 2 weeks ago in 55 over Yonkers, which is an incredible mile. Then they raced him the other night and he finished no good. He was sick. Scope sick. Actually had a trickle of blood also through Lasix in Yonkers. But often when you have that mucus in their throat, it puts a lot of strain on their lungs and they will spring a leak once in a while. So it's very important that that Andrew, he understands this. I don't even say it. Clean him up, make sure he's healthy before you race him. You don't want to be racing that guy sick for sure. Lawmaker, huge mile in the Beal. And headed for the Hamiltonian. I wanted to speak a little bit about Lawmaker this week, so I'd sent an email out. And those of you that are on our back-end system, you probably saw the email. If you didn't, you can go and look at it if you want. It's under the Lawmaker marking on the email sent out. And I just wanted to tell our clients that own this horse. I own 20% of the horse with my wife Amy, and I separated myself from the conversation. I said, listen, put yourself in my shoes. If Lawmaker races good, he's just a good horse, and if Lawmaker races bad, I drove him bad. And that's how the general public perceive the Lawmaker situation heading into the Hamiltonian. Secondly, there may be some people out there that want to invest with the stable but don't really want Anthony McDonald driving their horses. I don't got a problem with that. Don't matter to me. I mean, for me, as I said to my wife, the fun I had with my wife and kids the last week in Ohio is much more important than being a driver. You know, I used to want to be John Campbell. I used to want to be a driver and win all the races. Sure, I did. I want to have my name in the record books too. It's just not going to happen. You know, I'm not John Campbell. I'm not even Mark McDonald for the most part. But I do a pretty good job, I think, with our horses. And I'm not driving the horses in Illinois or Indiana. I like coming down to Ohio and driving the horses here, Pennsylvania. You know, when the 2-year-olds are racing, I think knowing what they can do and having that rapport with the horses is a good thing. As long as I'm driving them okay. But when it comes to the 3-year-olds, it's a different story. You're talking about racing in the biggest race. You only got one shot at it. The biggest race in the Meadowlands, being the Hamiltonian. I thought it only fair that we make sure that we have an open conversation with our clients and say, listen, there's lots of drivers that can drive Lawmaker. Lots of them. Lots of them, much more decorated with me than a better resume than I'll ever have. And if you would feel more comfortable with one of those drivers driving the horse, feel free to speak up. You're not hurting my feelings. Seriously. And it was the most unlikely person that brought the most clarity to the group. Obviously, everybody, wanted me to drive the horse for sentimental reasons, but this is a business. And it was actually Andrew Harris who wrote the email to everybody explaining that I get along with Lawmaker, and I think a lot of people will and would easily, but I do. And maybe if we had to change the driver 3 starts ago and found a driver that would stick with Lawmaker, that would be something we could explore. But given the fact that he was 70-1 going to the gate in the Beal, and everybody wrote us off before we went there, said he didn't belong, shouldn't be racing with those horses, it's going to be a tough time finding a driver that's going to stick with Lawmaker. Now that he raced good in the Beal, those same pundits, those same people sitting in the peanut gallery are saying, geez, you know, not only do we think Lawmaker could have won the Beal without Anthony McDonald driving, but we think he's got a shot in the Hamiltonian without Anthony McDonald driving. Maybe he will. I have no idea. But as it stands right now, I will be driving Lawmaker in the Hamiltonian. And it's tough for me. It could cost me business. I get nothing to gain other than racing in the Hamiltonian, and if I'm lucky enough, hopefully winning the Hamiltonian. But outside of that, I got a lot riding on me. And for me, I've always been the guy, I want to drive the horses. You know, there's people that want to take the shot at the last second. You know, they want to be the receiver in the end zone when it hits 0 in the 4th quarter. You know, I want to be that guy. But I got a lot of people riding on my shoulders. And as I said to you, my dreams of being John Campbell, Bill O'Donnell, Brian Sears, Yannick Gingras, a million other guys, Mark McDonald, they've long passed. I haven't given up on driving horses, but I've given up on the idea that I'm going to somehow rewrite the history books. You know, what do I love about this game? You're looking at it. The fact that I can go on the road with my family, have fun, you know, go to the movies in Ohio and go out to eat, go to the races at 10 o'clock at night and drive Twinsburg and win the Ohio Cider Stakes. Get in the car with my family and drive back home and go drive a road tripper tonight. That's what I love about being a driver, and that's what I love about this industry now. So for me, the pressure, I don't really care. Hamiltonian, Ohio Cider Stakes, or road tripper tonight, I'm going to turn the page as soon as I step off the bike. I never used to be able to do that as a driver. I always used to say, how could I have done better? How could I have won that race? What did I do wrong? Go over it in my head. Try to do better next week. I don't have that anymore. So I'm as stress-free as you can be heading into the Hamiltonian. But I want to make sure that our clients know that they have an opportunity to speak their voice. And you're not going to hurt my feelings. So as it goes for Lawmaker, you're stuck with me for another couple of weeks anyway. And I'll be happy to drive Lawmaker in the Hamiltonian. And hopefully win the Hamiltonian for our clients. TheStable.ca. For myself, for Lawmaker, for Andrew, for Riley, for my kids. So, that's the Lawmaker saga. The pre-Hamiltonian Lawmaker saga put to rest. And that's the Andrew Harris stable. Next is Angie Coleman. Angie Coleman has 3 horses for us. Ivanka, who was on stall rest, but looks sound now, looking good. So that's good. Not an Angel, who's racing Saturday night tonight for us. Very excited to see that. And then we have Hold and Steady, the big gray colt. He's not racing this week. He didn't get in. They're training him today. And then his race is next Monday. No. Yeah, I think. I could be wrong. I think it's next Monday. That doesn't make sense.
Where are you going to go then?
Why, where am I going to be? Oh, no, it can't be next Monday. It must. I don't know when it is. It's next weekend. Next weekend. I was thinking I could go there and drive. No, I think it's on the 23rd. The following Saturday, maybe. I'm not positive. I know it's coming up. He's got a race coming up. He was 4th in the Sire Stakes his last start. He's training today. Hopefully he'll be in next week. Angie and Rob are doing a fantastic job with those horses out in Illinois. So, we do have some horses coming back and some horses going out. Coming back are Vika and Autumn Wings. They arrived back here 2 days ago to start their summer training and racing. They'll be back with us, hopefully qualified in the next 4 weeks. And we will have, hopefully before that, because we have the, what's it called, the Pure Ivory for our Vika. And if I'm not mistaken, we probably paid Autumn Wings into the, no, that's the one later on in the year. The When You Wish Upon it. I don't know which one it is. One of those summer events, summer event races. So they're back with us now. Coming in a couple of weeks will be Better Call Mike. He's been out for at least 4 or 5 years by the feel of it. He's been out for a while. He's coming back here in another couple of weeks. RV LeBron and King of the Ball will both be coming back in the next couple of weeks. He's coming back in a couple of weeks.
What about Jerry?
Ava. Next to be turned out, we got a couple of horses going out now. Be My Delight, I trained her in 2 minutes. She's ready to go, but she's not quite comfortable. She got cast in her stall right around the same time Lawmaker did. Lawmaker tore a muscle up over his back, and Be My Delight tweaked her hip flexor. So we had some vet work done on her. It seemed to help a bit. It seemed like she was getting better, and then she regressed a little bit. And the vet said you just can't do too much work with the hip flexors. I injured my hip 4 or 5 years ago, and I walked with a cane for quite a while, so I know the annoying pain that's attributed to that. So we're simply going to stop with her. You know, what are we going to do? Qualify her, watch her limp around the track, or race at 85% until she's healthy? Why don't we just let her mature, let her knees cool down, let her feet grow out, and let her mature, and then bring her back and cut her loose this later in the summer or the fall. So when she's ready to go, she'll go, but she's going out to the field for some R&R. Tomorrow's headline, another colt ready to go, qualified 59, schooled in 58. Grassroots are going to go right around 54, 55. Why tear the heart out of this colt to catch them? He's got that curve that's still a little warm and bugging him. His knees are still open and a little clunky. Probably just going to let him mature before we hurt. Don't want to hurt this colt. You know, I think he's got a bright future. So why don't we just take our time and turn him out? And that is exactly what we're going to do. Pulled the plug on Cash In On Me, turned him out. He's as big as a hippopotamus right now. He's huge.
That's friggin' biggin'.
He's bigger than friggin' biggin', and friggin' biggin's huge. Cash In On Me is just enormous colt. Every day he goes out and never looks to get out of his work. He's a worker, and I respect him for that. So he's only the same as he was before, been an 18 or 20, maybe 15 or something, but still a little bumpy, a little rolly. His stifles are clearly just immature. How can't they be? He's got so big now. He's got an immature set of stifles on him. We're just going to turn him out. If I had a problem with Cash In On Me, he would be in the same place Rock on the Roll is, somewhere else. So I don't have a problem at all with Cash In On Me. Now, one of the horses I was a little disappointed we had to turn out was our 3-year-old Dewey Ann. We just brought her back. And really hoped that we could get her going forward. She won her first start. It's always hikey and out of gear, and won her first start in 2.6, come half in a minute in a snowbank in London, and looked fantastic. Gee, she looked good. Just a beautiful filly. Now, I'll tell you this. I'm not in the breeding business. You know, we built the stable. Obviously, it's growing in 100 directions. We have a lot of clients saying, hey, do you ever think about breeding horses? No. I mean, yeah, I have. I had a broodmare once, and I lost my shirt. We're not really a broodmare company, but at the same time, if we were, Dewey Ann's the type of horse I'd breed. She's not put together perfect. But I'll tell you what she is. She's tough. She wants to work. She's a worker. She's very, very well bred. So I'll put it to everybody that owns her, and I own a big chunk of her. If we bring her back in the fall, another reason I turned her in for the summer, if we bring her back in the fall, and she can't do her work again, or she's just not ready or can't do it, I'd entertain the idea of breeding this mare. I like her. She doesn't get a great mark. She's got a mark. She's got a good family. She's got a damn good heart. And she's a nice filly to be around. So for me, you know, and somebody said to me, well, you know, her pet, you know, she doesn't stand the greatest. You know, conformation's not good. Okay. I bought 53 yearlings this year. I didn't inspect their mothers not one time. Not one time did I say, hey, can I see your mother? They're not there. So I don't know if all the mothers that we bought horses out of had great conformation. Maybe they did, maybe they don't. I don't know. So for me, I judge the foal. The foal didn't stand great, didn't stand great. I would assume if you have a mother that didn't have great conformation, it would heighten the chances of the foal not having great conformation. I would concede that. You're right. But that doesn't mean it wouldn't. So for me, another reason I turned Dewey in. 1, she's not ready to go. 2, I don't want to hurt her. And 3, if everything all else fails, I would entertain the idea of breeding this mare because I really like her. So, those are the stables. Those are the turnouts. Those are everybody. All we got left is what? Top 10. Top 10, top 12. And then I'll run through all the babies for you in just